Hello everyone. Today, we are going to explore a fundamental topic in education, teaching. Let's begin by understanding what teaching aptitude means. Teaching aptitude refers to the potential abilities that predict success in teaching. These are tested through predictive measures that focus on specific abilities and skill sets essential for the teaching profession. It also refers to the basic qualities required to become a successful teacher, such as the right qualifications, soft skills, intelligence, and attitude. Teaching aptitude tests are often used as a professional screening tool to ensure that aspiring teachers possess the necessary knowledge and skills to succeed in educational environments. Now let's look at the concept of teaching. At its core, teaching is the transfer of knowledge from an expert to a learner. It is not just scientific, but also strategic, applying principles and experiences to make learning more effective. Teaching is also aligned with societal needs, shaping student behavior to reflect social values and cultural norms. And importantly, it involves a structured relationship between teacher and student, using appropriate methods and tools. There are multiple ways to define teaching. According to H.C. Morrison, teaching is an intimate contact between a mature and a less mature person designed to promote learning. For Albert Einstein, teaching is the art of awakening joy in creative expression and knowledge. Other thinkers, like Clark, emphasize the role of teaching in eliciting specific behaviors, while Dr. Kalam saw it as a profession that shapes both character and destiny. Let's now move on to the objectives of teaching. The first is behavioral transformation, helping students adapt effectively in society. Second is skill development, which includes the ability to understand and critical thinking. Third is learning enhancement, which means developing deeper understanding. And fourth, achieving measurable outcomes, results that are specific, observable, and quantifiable. Let's take a look at Bloom's taxonomy cognitive domain. It's a pyramid of thinking skills, starting from basic recall to advanced creation. At the base is remembering, recalling facts. Then comes understanding, making sense of what you learn. Applying is using that knowledge in new situations. Analyzing means breaking ideas down and seeing relationships. Evaluating involves making judgments and decisions. And at the top, creating, using what you know to make something new. As we move up, thinking gets deeper and more complex. Bloom also described the affective and psychomotor domains. In the affective domain, students move from receiving information to responding, then valuing, organizing, and finally internalizing values. The psychomotor domain includes observing, imitating, practicing, adapting, and eventually mastering skills through naturalization. We now move to the Gagne and Briggs model of instructional design. They classify learning objectives into categories. Verbal information, which is expressing what is learned. Intellectual skills, applying established rules. Cognitive strategies, which means forming new strategies. Motor skills, that are physical abilities. Attitudes, that are personal dispositions. This model helps educators design instruction that meets varied learning needs. Let's understand the nature and characteristics of teaching. Teaching is a dynamic process, one that constantly evolves with society's needs. It follows a scientific approach, using structured methods and clear objectives. Teaching is also a professional activity, requiring specialized training to guide student development. And it is an analyzable system, where feedback can be used to refine methods and improve outcomes. Teaching takes place at different levels. At the memory level, students focus on basic recall. At the understanding level, they comprehend relationships and apply concepts. And at the reflective level, they use critical thinking to analyze and solve problems. Let's examine the understanding level of teaching more closely. It builds upon memory, helping students understand facts and generalize principles. They learn to apply these in real world situations, strengthening practical skills and achieving mastery. According to Morrison, this level is more effective than simple memory based learning. It encourages students to think critically, communicate logically, and stay motivated through both internal and external factors. The objectives of understanding level teaching include comprehending and classifying information, applying principles in practical contexts, presenting and reviewing concepts, exploring topics to discover connections, and assimilating knowledge through reinforcement. Teaching at this level uses structured methods like lectures and discussions and follows Morrison's 5 steps: exploration, finding new information; presentation, expressing it; assimilation, understanding it; organization, structuring it; recitation, recalling it. Now let's understand the levels of teaching development. At the autonomous level, students learn independently through reading, lectures, or discussions. In the guided development stage, teachers actively plan and structure learning experiences. And in supported development, teachers offer personalized support to help students overcome specific challenges. Let's also look at the memory level of teaching. This is based on Herbart's method and focuses on rapid learning through repetition, stable retention of facts, quick recall during exams, selective consciousness, helping students focus on important content. Here, teachers lead the process while students are extrinsically motivated to memorize. Psychological theories behind memory level teaching include the following theories: Piaget's theory, which says young learners first rely on memory before developing reasoning; Herbartian theory, which highlights early absorption of facts; and conditioning theory, where reinforcement helps students retain what they've learned. To support memory level learning, teachers should provide clear and relevant content, step by step progression from basic to advanced topics, helpful teaching aids, and regular practice and evaluation. Now, let's discuss the reflective level of teaching. Here, students identify real life problems, use original thinking, develop creative solutions, and apply and evaluate their outcomes. In this level, the teacher becomes a facilitator and the student leads their own learning journey. A key part of reflective practice is understanding the difference between cognition and metacognition. Cognition involves basic mental activities like memory, reasoning, and problem solving. Metacognition goes one step further. It's about being aware of how you think and controlling how you learn. Together, they enhance reflection, helping learners become more independent and strategic. Finally, let's talk about the basic requirements and principles of teaching. Teaching involves 3 variables: the student, dependent; the teacher, independent; and the curriculum or method, intervening. It also requires strong infrastructure, classrooms, labs, libraries, and playgrounds to support holistic development. The general principles of teaching include creating motivation and interest, encouraging activity and respecting individual differences, having clear planning and organization. Psychological principles include motivation and recreation, repetition and creativity, reinforcement and support, sensory engagement and timely remediation. Let's wrap up with what makes effective teaching behavior. It involves pre-instructional skills, setting objectives and preparing; instructional skills, delivering content and managing the classroom; post-instructional skills, assessing performance and improving strategies; We hope that you have understood the topic. To watch more videos and study effectively, check out the Eduref app and website.